Hello everyone, and welcome to Earth Archives. Today, the person we're going to talk about isn't a modern celebrity or a political figure, but someone who changed the world 400 years ago, Galileo Galilei. Who exactly was he? And why do we say he transformed humanity's understanding of the universe?
When it comes to the birth of modern science, there's one key figure we can't ignore: Galileo Galilei. He was not only a physicist and astronomer, but is also known as the father of modern science. In the early 17th century, astronomical observations were still limited to the naked eye, and understanding of the universe was filled with imagination and superstition. Galileo changed all that. He was the first scientist to observe the night sky with a self-made telescope, a seemingly simple act that sparked a wave of scientific revolution. He observed that the moon's surface was covered with hills and craters, completely contradicting the then common belief that celestial bodies were perfect and flawless. He also discovered that Jupiter had 4 moons orbiting it, proving that not all celestial bodies revolve around the Earth, directly challenging the Church's authority on the geocentric model. More importantly, he observed the phases of Venus, a phenomenon that could only be reasonably explained by the heliocentric model, with the sun at the center.
Challenging the geocentric model? Back then, everyone believed the Earth was the center of the universe, and he dared to say, no, the sun is the center? Wasn't that dangerous?
In Europe 400 years ago, challenging the authority of the Church was almost like walking to the stake. Galileo, who is honored by later generations as the father of modern science, was exactly such a fearless pioneer who stood firm for truth despite authority. He didn't just talk the talk. He used his telescope as a weapon and presented solid observational evidence, proving that the Earth is not the center of the universe. For the Church, which upheld the geocentric view, this was nothing short of sacrilege. You can imagine that in that era, the Church was not only the religious center, but also the supreme arbiter of thought. Any idea that contradicted the Bible could be branded heresy. Galileo's heliocentric stance, that the Earth orbits the sun, not vice versa, not only overturned traditional views of the cosmos, but directly challenged the Church's interpretive authority on doctrine.
Wow, so how was he raised when he was a kid?
On February 15, 1564, in the beautiful Italian city of Pisa, a great man who would change the world was born, Galileo Galilei. He was the eldest of 6 children in his family. His father was a talented musician and an open-minded scholar. Growing up surrounded by a blend of art and reason, Galileo's childhood was nurtured not only by music and the arts, but also sparked a deep curiosity about mathematics and natural phenomena. From a young age, Galileo showed extraordinary observational skills. He could not only discern the rhythm and variations in musical notes, but also noticed patterns in the small details of nature. He often observed the speed at which water droplets fell, studied the swinging rhythm of chandeliers, and asked questions about simple phenomena. These seemingly trivial childhood observations later inspired his discovery of the isochronism of the pendulum. Besides music, Galileo had a strong interest in painting. He studied perspective drawing, a training that made him especially precise when observing celestial bodies and recording astronomical phenomena, and helped him create detailed astronomical illustrations. Mathematics was his favorite subject, and despite his father's wish for him to study medicine, Galileo insisted on pursuing mathematics and natural philosophy.
So music really inspired his scientific talent?
As a youth, Galileo studied at a monastery school in Florence, an experience that deeply influenced his life. It was a time when religion held immense power, and the education went beyond grammar and math. It emphasized the Bible, theology, and the Church's interpretation of the cosmic order. Galileo grew up immersed in this environment, gaining a profound understanding of how religious faith and ideology dominated society at the time. In the monastery, he encountered many theological ideas and learned to respect traditional authority. But at the same time, his curiosity never ceased. He developed a strong interest in natural phenomena, often spending his free time alone observing the night sky and pondering the mysteries of the universe. This led him to realize that beyond doctrine, there was another way to understand the world, through observation and experimentation, seeking truths that could be verified. These years of study in the monastery did not turn Galileo into a blind follower of authority. Instead, they made him more aware that true faith and wisdom do not exclude exploration and questioning of the world. He understood that to challenge mainstream ideas, especially those closely tied to religious beliefs about the cosmos, one needed not only courage, but also strategy and evidence.
So when did he start becoming interested in science?
At the age of 18, Galileo entered the University of Pisa. Originally, following his family's expectations, he was preparing to study medicine to become a respectable doctor. But fate had quietly arranged a completely different path for him. Although he initially studied anatomy and human body structure, he soon realized he was far more fascinated by the workings of the universe than the workings of the human body. He had an indescribable passion for natural phenomena, the beauty of mathematical logic, and the rhythms of the stars. Rather than healing people, he wanted to understand why objects fall, how planets move, and how light travels. This deep curiosity from within led him to decisively give up what was then considered a stable and well-paid career in medicine, and instead devote himself to mathematics and natural philosophy, the early forms of what we now call physics and astronomy. In Italy at that time, this was no small decision. Studying medicine was a family expectation, and giving it up meant forsaking future social status and economic security. Yet Galileo's persistence led him down a path that was difficult but filled with discovery. He began to study Aristotle's natural theories in depth, but gradually uncovered their flaws and logical inconsistencies, which propelled him onto an innovative journey balancing both experiment and observation.
Natural philosophy sounds abstract. How did he learn to understand nature?
During Galileo's studies, one key figure had a profound influence on his thinking: the famous mathematician Ostilio Ricci. This teacher didn't just teach him mathematics. More importantly, he taught Galileo how to use numbers, formulas, and logic to understand the world, rather than relying on intuition or authority. For European society at the time, this was a revolutionary way of thinking. Back then, mainstream knowledge was still dominated by Aristotle and church doctrine, with much of it based on intuition and tradition rather than empirical evidence and data. But Ostilio introduced Galileo to the world of rational deduction. He showed Galileo that why an object accelerates or why celestial bodies move in the sky can actually be explained through rigorous mathematics. This learning approach, centered on logic and evidence, inspired Galileo deeply and laid the foundation for his later scientific revolution. Galileo gradually realized that true knowledge doesn't come from rote memorization of authoritative texts, but from results obtained through observation, experimentation, and calculation. He began to question long-held theories and bravely challenge traditional ways of thinking. This marked the core spirit of the scientific revolution: to speak through evidence, not blind belief.
What was life like for him back then? Was he able to study peacefully?
When Galileo was young, his family was relatively well off. However, 2 years later, their financial situation took a sharp downturn, forcing him to become self-reliant. To support himself, he began teaching not only mathematics, but also art classes, and even created paintings and designs himself. This blend of art and science not only brought him income, but also greatly enhanced his powers of observation and attention to detail. His artistic training gave Galileo a perspective different from that of most scientists. He knew how to use his brush to delicately depict nature, which played a crucial role in his later astronomical observations. Although telescopes at the time were far from perfect, Galileo's drawing skills allowed him to accurately record the changing shadows of the lunar craters, as well as the positions and motions of Jupiter's moons. These precious hand-drawn records have since become invaluable scientific documents.
I heard he also did an interesting pendulum experiment. Can you tell me about that?
One day, Galileo was quietly observing a swinging chandelier in a Pisa church when he noticed something astonishing. No matter the size of the swing, the period of the pendulum's swing remained almost constant. This simple yet profound discovery later became the foundation of what is known as the pendulum law. This law fundamentally changed humanity's understanding of time measurement and laid the scientific groundwork for the invention of the precise pendulum clock. Before Galileo, people mainly measured time by using sundials or water clocks, which were easily affected by weather and environmental conditions, resulting in low accuracy and unstable measurements. Galileo's discovery enabled scientists to create stable and precise timing instruments using the pendulum's regularity, sparking a revolutionary advancement in clock-making technology. The impact of the pendulum law goes far beyond timekeeping. This discovery marked a significant breakthrough in scientific observation and experimentation, highlighting the regularity and predictability behind natural phenomena. It also symbolizes humanity's emerging ability to understand the natural world through mathematics and physical laws.
That's amazing. When did he start observing celestial bodies? In 1609, Galileo heard about a remarkable new invention from the Netherlands, the telescope. He immediately showed his extraordinary hands-on ability by making one himself and improving it. This homemade telescope allowed him to observe the night sky with unprecedented clarity, ushering in the beginning of an astronomical revolution. The first time he pointed the telescope at the sky, Galileo was delighted to discover craters and mountains on the moon's surface. These features proved that the moon was not a perfectly smooth celestial body, which strongly contrasted with the then common belief that celestial bodies were flawless. Furthermore, he observed 4 large moons orbiting Jupiter, what we now call the Galilean moons. This discovery broke the geocentric theory that all celestial bodies revolve around the Earth, since these moons clearly orbited Jupiter. Not only that, Galileo also recorded the phases of Venus, confirming that Venus orbits the Sun. This further supported Copernicus's heliocentric theory. These discoveries dealt a huge blow to both the scientific and religious authorities of the time, causing the dominance of the geocentric theory to begin to shake.
Those 4 moons are the ones we now call the Galilean moons, right? Yes, through a self-made and improved telescope, Galileo joyfully discovered Jupiter's 4 large moons: Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. These 4 moons not only accompanied Jupiter in its orbit, but they also completely overturned the firmly believed geocentric theory of that era. This discovery meant that Earth is not the center of the universe, and that the structure of the universe is far broader and more complex than imagined. The orbits of these 4 moons proved that not all celestial bodies revolve around the Earth, prompting the scientific community to rethink traditional cosmology. Through the orbital paths of these moons, Galileo demonstrated a revolutionary breakthrough in astronomical observation and laid a solid foundation for future scientific development.
Besides seeing the craters on the moon and the moons of Jupiter, what other important discoveries did Galileo make?
When it comes to Galileo's astronomical discoveries, one of the most remarkable was his observation of Venus. At the time, Venus was considered a mysterious celestial body, but through his homemade telescope, Galileo was amazed to find that Venus exhibited clear phases, much like the moon. This discovery not only shocked the astronomical community, but also directly challenged the traditional geocentric theory. The phases of Venus refer to the changing shapes it shows in the sky, from a new crescent to a full disk, with varying illuminated portions. This meant that Venus orbits the Sun, not the Earth, proving the heliocentric model correct. Galileo's discovery provided strong observational evidence supporting Copernicus's heliocentric theory and caused people to start reconsidering the structure of the universe. At the time, the Church strongly opposed this challenge to its authority, but Galileo insisted on the scientific evidence and let his observations speak for themselves. His courage and persistence not only transformed astronomy, but also propelled the wave of the scientific revolution.
The phases? You mean Venus shows crescents and full shapes just like the moon?
Exactly. Using his self-made and improved telescope, Galileo carefully observed Venus and was surprised to find that Venus did not always appear the same shape. Sometimes it looked round, sometimes half full, and sometimes like a crescent near the new moon phase. This phenomenon is called the phases of Venus, and such changes can only be seen if Venus orbits the Sun rather than the Earth. At that time, the dominant geocentric theory claimed all celestial bodies revolve around the Earth, so Venus should always show the same phase. But Galileo's observations completely overturned this idea. The changing phases of Venus proved that it orbits the Sun, supporting Copernicus's heliocentric model. This discovery was a major scientific breakthrough and sparked intense debates and challenges in both philosophical and religious spheres.
So, what does this have to do with the geocentric theory?
Before Galileo, the geocentric theory was the most widely accepted model of the universe. It held that Earth was the center of the cosmos, and all celestial bodies revolved around it. According to this theory, Venus should always be positioned between the Earth and the Sun, so it couldn't show the full range of phases. In other words, Venus's shape should be fixed, always showing the same illuminated portion. However, Galileo observed through his telescope that Venus exhibited clear phases, sometimes appearing full like a full moon, and sometimes like a crescent or new moon. These changes contradicted the predictions of the geocentric theory. Such phases could only be explained if Venus orbited the Sun and Earth observed it from the opposite side at times. This phenomenon perfectly supported the heliocentric theory, the model proposed by Copernicus that the Sun is at the center. This discovery was groundbreaking. It directly proved that the Sun, not the Earth, was the center of the universe. This was not only a major breakthrough in astronomy, but also challenged the Church and established authorities, shaking people's long-held beliefs about the order of the cosmos.
Woman, wow, he actually challenged the entire worldview just by observing a tiny planet like Venus.
Imagine Europe over 400 years ago. Back then, the Church held the ultimate authority over ideas, and the geocentric theory was considered an unchallengeable cosmic truth. People firmly believed Earth was the center of the universe, with the Sun and other planets revolving around it. This worldview was almost the shared foundation of both religion and science. Anyone who challenged it risked severe punishment or persecution. Yet, Galileo bravely broke through this framework. When he used his improved telescope to observe the phases of Venus, the facts he saw completely contradicted the religious dogma of the time. The phases of Venus could only be explained if the Sun was the center and Venus orbited the Sun, Galileo boldly declared. No, Venus proves that the Sun is the center of the universe. This statement was like a shockwave in the scientific community, shaking both academia and religious authorities. The Church refused to accept this challenge and branded him a heretic. Despite facing pressure and threats, Galileo stood firm on scientific evidence and became a pioneer driving the scientific revolution.
He must have been really nervous, right?
At the time, Galileo was both nervous and excited as he stood at the forefront of a discovery that challenged the existing view of the universe. To ensure the accuracy of his observations, he didn't just study the sky at night. He also carefully measured Venus's position at dawn and dusk, meticulously charting its phases and recording changes in brightness. This kind of persistent and precise observation became the cornerstone of his scientific method, relying on evidence rather than tradition or blind faith. Galileo's approach and attitude completely disrupted the rigid academic system of the time. He not only dared to challenge the Church's long-held belief in the geocentric model, but also used a simple telescope and a rigorous set of data to reveal the true face of the universe. This was not just a technical breakthrough. It was a profound demonstration of scientific spirit. All theories must be tested through observation and experiment. Evidence is the ultimate judge.
That's so cool. The phases of Venus weren't just a scientific discovery, they sparked a revolution in thought.
Galileo's observations of Venus were not only crucial evidence against the dominant geocentric theory, they became one of the most direct and persuasive scientific confirmations of the heliocentric model. According to the geocentric view, Earth was the center of the universe, and all celestial bodies revolved around it. But through his telescope, Galileo observed that Venus went through a full set of phases, something only possible if Venus orbited the Sun. This completely dismantled the foundational logic of the geocentric theory. This discovery shocked the scientific community of the time and laid a solid foundation for future scientific giants like Kepler and Newton. Kepler formulated the 3 laws of planetary motion, and Newton later explained why planets orbit the Sun through his law of universal gravitation. None of this would have been possible without Galileo's precise observations of Venus's phases. In a way, Venus was like a tiny cosmic switch. With a single turn, it unlocked the secrets of the universe and revealed the true mechanics of the cosmos we live in. How did he publish these observations? Galileo's dialogue concerning the 2 chief world systems is a landmark work in the history of science. He cleverly structured it as a conversation among 3 characters, exploring the 2 dominant cosmological models of his time, the heliocentric model and the geocentric model. One character strongly supports Copernicus' heliocentric theory, emphasizing the scientific evidence that planets orbit the Sun. Another staunchly defends the traditional geocentric view, representing the Church and conservative forces. The third character appears neutral, but uses satire and humor to subtly expose the absurdity and inconsistencies of the geocentric argument. By presenting complex scientific and philosophical debates in the form of a dialogue, Galileo made the ideas more accessible and engaging. More importantly, he directly confronted the contradictions and limitations of the Church's monopoly over knowledge. His writing was filled with reason and courage. He challenged deeply entrenched beliefs with facts and logic, insisting that science must be grounded in observation and evidence, not blind submission to authority.
So that's when the Church came after him.
In 1633, at nearly 70 years old, Galileo was summoned to Rome by the Inquisition, facing harsh accusations from the Church for advocating the heliocentric model. At the time, the Church considered the geocentric model a sacred doctrine, and Galileo's observations and theories directly undermined that authority. During the trial, he was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment, which was later commuted to house arrest. Though his freedom was restricted, his thirst for knowledge remained unbroken. During his house arrest, Galileo didn't abandon science. Instead, he delved even deeper into his research. He completed his groundbreaking work Discourses and mathematical demonstrations relating to 2 new sciences, which systematically explained the principles of motion and acceleration. This book laid the foundation for modern physics. Presented again in a dialogue format, it explored concepts like inertia, motion, and force in a way that was clear and engaging, revolutionizing humanity's understanding of the laws that govern the natural world.
Did he invent anything besides his work in astronomy?
Galileo was not only a pioneer in astronomy, but truly a multidisciplinary genius. He didn't just improve the newly invented telescope, which allowed humanity to see the craters on the Moon, Jupiter's moons, and the phases of Venus. He also made groundbreaking contributions to physics. In addition, he designed one of the earliest thermometers, laying the groundwork for meteorology and scientific measurement. Even more surprising, Galileo also contributed to military technology. He designed a precise military rangefinder, which helped armies improve shooting accuracy and battlefield control. His passion and talent for music were also remarkable. He helped musicians tune instruments and applied mathematical principles to control rhythm and pitch with precision, demonstrating a perfect fusion of science and art. If Galileo had lived in the modern technological era, he would undoubtedly be a multidisciplinary expert in today's tech world, skilled in engineering, physics, data analysis, and perhaps even artificial intelligence and machine learning. His ability to translate complex theories into practical tools was key to driving technological progress.
I heard he also did that free fall experiment from the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Galileo's free fall experiment is one of the most iconic moments in the history of science. At the time, people firmly believed Aristotle's theory that heavier objects fall faster than lighter ones, an idea deeply rooted in the thinking of the era. But Galileo dared to challenge this authority. At the Leaning Tower of Pisa, he conducted his famous free fall experiment. He dropped two balls of different weights from the same height and observed that they hit the ground almost simultaneously. This finding completely overturned Aristotle's flawed theory. This experiment not only redefined basic physical understanding, but also laid a critical foundation for Newton's laws of motion. Through observation and experimentation, Galileo demonstrated the power of the scientific method, evidence over authority, and experimentation over assumption. This marked the birth of the law of free fall, regardless of an object's weight. As long as air resistance is negligible, all objects fall at the same rate.
He must have really cared about precision in his observations, right?
Galileo didn't just reveal the laws of nature through experiments. He also used the language of mathematics to precisely describe the rules of motion, laying a solid foundation for modern physics. He wasn't merely an observer. He was a creator of science. By using mathematical formulas to capture the relationships between speed, acceleration, and displacement, he transformed motion from a vague phenomenon into a quantifiable and predictable scientific subject. This precise mathematical description was at the core of Galileo's scientific revolution. Through his studies of free fall and inclined plane motion, he introduced the concept of constant acceleration and connected speed to time and displacement to the square of time, using simple yet profound formulas. These achievements not only changed how we understand motion, but also laid the theoretical groundwork for Newtonian mechanics.
What was his daily life like?
Galileo was not only a great pioneer in the history of science, but also a loving family man and a rigorous teacher. He cared deeply for his family, was attentive to his children's upbringing, and often made time for them despite his demanding research schedule, showing a warm and tender side. As a teacher, he was strict but devoted. He emphasized a strong foundation in theory combined with hands-on observation, patiently guiding each student and helping them develop independent thinking and a spirit of inquiry. Many of his students went on to become key figures in the advancement of science, thanks to his mentorship. Galileo was also passionate about the arts. He was skilled in both painting and music, and he had a talent for merging art and science seamlessly. He carefully sketched lunar craters and Jupiter's moons with artistic precision, and he loved crafting scientific instruments, building telescopes and measurement tools with his own hands. This interdisciplinary talent made his scientific discoveries even more accurate and established him as a model of the Renaissance ideal, where science and art flourish side by side.
How did he pass away in the end?
On January 8, 1642, the great scientific giant Galileo Galilei passed away peacefully at the age of 77. Throughout his life, he showed remarkable persistence and courage, challenging the dominant authorities and traditions of his time, and laid the foundations of modern science. Though he faced trial and house arrest by the Inquisition during his later years, his ideas and discoveries shone like the stars, forever lighting the path of humanity's quest for the unknown. Galileo's scientific spirit endured through centuries and was finally acknowledged in 1992 when the Church formally issued an apology. This act was not only a gesture of justice toward Galileo himself, but a powerful symbol that reason and science will ultimately triumph over superstition and prejudice. His bravery and dedication have since become an immortal example for scientists in pursuit of truth. So when we look up at the stars, we should think of him. Galileo proved an eternal truth with his life. Even if the whole world doubts you, as long as you stand on the side of truth, you are never alone. He was not just a great scientist, but also a pioneer of intellectual freedom, a man who dared to challenge authority and break through superstition, laying a solid foundation for the modern scientific era. In 16th and 17th century Europe, the authority of the Church was pervasive, and any view that contradicted the geocentric model could result in severe punishment. Under such pressure, Galileo remained committed to the spirit of observation and experimentation, proving that the sun, not the earth, was the center of the universe, thus opening up an entirely new cosmic perspective for humanity. Undeterred by adversity, he used his telescope to observe the phases of Venus and discover Jupiter's moons, revealing the vastness and diversity of the cosmos. These groundbreaking discoveries challenged the traditional beliefs of the time and sent shockwaves through the entire scientific community.
That's all for today's science story. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and leave a comment to tell us who your favorite scientist is.